Hello, everybody. So, I told you we would come back today and go over some distributive property word problems because I saw that you were doing it in your math class in terms of some distributive property. So, I wanted to just give you a little look at how distributive property kind of goes into some word problems. Now, some of these word problems will be a little blurry. These come out of the Steck Vaughn, I believe, books. So here we go. Let's look at the problem and see if we can answer it. And again, see how distributed property plays in. Hopefully you guys can see it. It says, Edward drove 4 times as many miles on Tuesday as he did on Wednesday and Thursday combined. Which expression describes the number of miles he drove on Tuesday in terms of the number of miles he drove on Wednesday, which is X, and Thursday, which is Y? Now, a couple of things you got to see or know. Like, first, you got to be able to break down this problem and pick out the important pieces. He drove 4 times as many miles on Tuesday as he did on Wednesday and Thursday combined. That's important. Also, what's important is that they're telling you you are using Wednesday as X and Thursday as Y. So when I look at that first statement, he drove 4 times as many miles on Tuesday as he did on Wednesday and Thursday. If I was writing that, I would write 4, because it said 4, times would mean parentheses, Tuesday and Wednesday combined, X was for Wednesday, and Thursday, plus for combined, Y would represent Thursday, close my parentheses off. Now, it didn't ask us to solve it. It just asked us to set it up. So that would be the setup. So the official answer to that would be D, right? But what if they want us to go further on this problem? I'm going to talk about how would we go further. If I had to go further with this problem, I noticed that I could do 4 times X and 4 times Y if they wanted me to do it that way. So another way that I could write this problem, I could write it as the 4 times X, right? 4 times X, which would be 4X, plus the 4 times Y, which would be 4Y. Now, those are actually the exact same answers. So always be mindful that although this was the answer choice that they gave us, I could have written it this way and it's the same thing because that's still using distributive property. And it's just making sure you have a command of 2 things. 1, expressions, and 2, distributive property. Okay? All right, let's try another one. Let's look at this one. There are P number of pencils in a pack. There are 50 packs in a box, 12 boxes in a case. Julia, delivers 3 cases to a store. She opens a case to remove 1 pencil to use. Which expression represents the number of pencils that are left? All right, so again, pulling out what's important. She has P number of packs. Here's 50 packs in a box. So P is the number of packs. Then I know I got 50 packs in a box. I got 12 boxes in a case. And I delivered 3 cases. Then from the 3 cases, I take out 1 pencil. So I got P number of pencils. So P pencils, right? Here we go. So I got P pencils. That's how many pencils I have. Don't know. In a pack, I know I'm doing 50 packs. So in order for me to know how many pencils are in the pack, is that add, subtract, multiply, divide. Hopefully, boom, 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 you said multiply. So I'm going to take P and multiply it by 50 because that's how many packs I'm taking. This is how many pencils. This is how many packs. Then it said packs in a box. Then it said how many boxes, and I'm taking 12 boxes. So again, I'm multiplying by 12 because I'm taking 12 boxes. And the boxes happen to be in a case. And in the case, I'm taking 3 cases. So I'm going to multiply this by 3. Then it says I'm going to remove 1 pencil from 1 pencil in order to use. So if I'm removing means I'm subtracting, and I subtract 1. So if I were just setting this up, which is all they asked me to do, this is my setup. Now look what I got. P times 50 times 12 times 3 minus 1. Look at my answer choices. And this is something that we tend to do a whole lot of. I know what I came up with. P, 50, 12, 3 minus 1. But I don't see that here. Nothing here starts with P. But I do know that everything was multiplication and then minus 1. So when I look up here, automatically eliminate A, automatically eliminate C, because that has division in it. And then I automatically eliminate D because it doesn't have subtraction in it, which means B is my right answer. Now, this is not written the same way that I wrote it, but it has all of the components that I had. P, 50, 12, 3, they're all multiplied and then minus 1. So it has everything that I had in my answer. It's just not written the same way. So don't think that you've done something wrong if you don't see things written the exact same way that you wrote it. As long as all of the components are there, then it is still the same answer. And 50 was the answer. Okay? All right. Let's look at another one. The expression 3 times x plus 2x represents the distance between two cities. What is the distance if x equals 4? Now, let's look at it. So there's our expression. We know that's important. 3 times x plus 2x. Boom. And they told us what x is. X is 4. So let me do it. Here I go. I have 3 times x plus 2x. And I know that so if I know that x is 4, I'm going to take 4 and replace it into everywhere I see x. So 3 times 4 plus 2 times 4. Close my parentheses. Now, several different ways you could do this. Several different ways you could attract it. But you notice distributive property is really being used. Because I could have started off saying 3 times x, which was 3x. 3 times this, which would have been 6x. And then plug my 4 in and got my answer. But since I didn't do that, I'm going to go ahead and finish this off. So I know 3 times 4 plus 8. Now, just because I want you guys to get used to distributive property, let me show you distributive property in this. 3 times 4. 3 times 4 would have given me 12. Plus 3 times 8. And yes, I know you could have did it another way. I'm not naive at all. I just wanted to show you how distributive property also could have been used to get to the answer. And 3 times 8, which is 24. And then if I add those two together, I get 36. Again, I know there's several different ways I could have did this, but I just wanted to show you guys how distributive property was used, right? And of course, 36 is my answer right there, so I had it right all in all. Here we go. Let's try another one. Number 6. The museum admission fee for a child is for more than 1/2 the admission fee for an adult. Which expression describes the amount paid for 12 children and 4 adults to visit the museum? All right, again, important pieces. A child is for more than 1/2 the admissions for an adult. So that's important. So there's a different price for a child than it is for an adult. So you got to see that. You got to see that. Then it goes on to tell me that I'm paying for 12 children and 4 adults. So again, important. So here I go. So if I were to set this up, I'm going to look at it in 2 scenarios. The child and an adult. Right? So for a child is for more than 1/2 the price of an adult. So 1/2 the price of an adult ticket plus 4 for more than 1/2 an adult. Then that means an adult ticket is just whatever it costs for an adult, and I'm going to use that as A. So now I have the prices, because that's what those represent, the 2 different prices. Price for a child, price for an adult. It also went on to say that I had 12 children that went. So 12 children went times how much it cost for a child. So that was 1/2 A plus 4. Because again, this is the cost of a child, and I'm taking 12 children. Then over here, it says that I took 4 adults. So I took 4, And the cost for an adult is just simply A. Took 4 of them, that's their cost. All right. Well, when I look over here, nothing on here has a 12 and a 1/2 and a 4. 12 and a 1/2. I do see a 4. But nothing has a 12 and a 1/2. So that must mean there's more work to do to this problem, and it is. Because we're going to use distributive property. I'm going to distribute the 12 times 1/2 A. And 12 times 1/2 A is just saying half of 12. That gives me 6A. Then I was going to do 12 times 4. And 12 times 4 is going to give me 48. Again, so now I got 6A plus 48. Well, I look back over here, nothing in 6A plus 48, so that must mean there's more work, because it is. Because it's asking me for the total amount for everybody to go. And remember, I had an adult price over here that was 4A. So I'm going to go ahead and add my adults in there. Plus my adults, which is 4A. So then, I hope you saw that you had like terms. 4A, 6A. Together, that gives me 10A. And then, of course, plus the 48 that I brought down because there was nothing to combine it to. So I get 10A plus 48 as my answer. And sure enough, 10A plus 48 was an answer choice. Okay? And again, I had to use distributive property. So you're seeing how distributive property, along with other values, knowing your expressions and all that, come into play when you're doing some of these word problems on the math. So don't just think that, oh, I don't know what the A, the X, why is this important? It may show up on your test in the form of a word problem, and you want to feel prepared for that. All right, look at this next one. On Monday, a cyclist rode 20 fewer than 3 times, I'm sorry if you can't see that, the number of miles he rode on Sunday. If he rode 30 miles on Sunday, how many miles did he ride on Monday? How many miles did he ride on Monday? Again, what's important? 20 fewer than 3 times the number of miles he rode on Sunday. And 30 miles on Sunday. So what I know is that he did 3 times what he did on Monday. We're going to call Monday X. Fewer means minus 20. So 3X minus 20 is what I have. And I know, because they told me, that X is equal to 30 because that was your Sunday miles. 3 times what he did on Sunday minus 20. Okay, so then this time I'm going to take 30 and plug it into X. So that's 3 times 30 minus 20. And I know what you're going to say, there's nothing to distribute here. You're pretty much right. There's not a lot of distributing going on. I'm just going to distribute, just multiply these two here. Doesn't go over here. Please don't do that. It just went here. So if I do 3 times 30, I know that that's 90 minus the 20. And I end up with, of course, 70 as my final answer. And of course, 70 is an answer here. So I'm still in there, still in the ballpark, still got it going on. All right. I think this was the last one that I gave you guys. So let's look at this very last one. A store sells women's and men's shoes in one day. The number of women's shoes sold was 12 more than 4 times the number of men's shoes sold. If 9 pair of men's shoes were sold that day, how many pairs of women's shoes did the store sell? So this is similar to the other problem that I have. First, important information. 12 more than 4 times the number of men's shoes. So if I was writing that, I'm going to say 4 times the number of men's shoes, that's your men's shoes, plus 12, because it said 12 more than. Okay? Then I know, because there was an I know in this, I know that there were 9 pairs of men's shoes, so X would have to equal 9. I'm going to plug it in. 4 times 9 plus 12. So here I go. 4 times 9, of course, is 36. And 36 plus 12 is going to give me 48 as my final answer. And again, I know you're saying there's not a whole bunch of distributive going on, Ms. Joyner. It's not. But knowing that I'm multiplying these two, adding and finishing it off, it still helps to get through it. Okay? All right. So again, 48 was my answer. I hope this helps. I hope you guys stop, pause, look at it, go back, rewind. Anything to help you get through. Remember our end goal. We are passing this test. All right. Enjoy.